Welcome to The Walk-In, a podcast where doors stay open and stories unfold one conversation at a time. Hosted by Christopher Michael Sean, author, poet, actor, and lifelong student of people and purpose. Here, you're more than just a listener. You're part of the room, part of the story. In every episode, someone sits down, breathes deep, and shares what drives them, what keeps them moving, and what keeps them dreaming. This is a space for dreamers, doers, and those still finding their way. So pull up a chair, pour something warm, and let's take a walk into the soul.
I am a writer, so that's how I got into drawing fantasy maps. And so then I opened it up to commissions for D&D. And the post that you saw was doing this project called Annus Cartographiae, where I'm drawing a map for every day for a year, not including the weekends, and then adding a location every single day.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you're a writer mostly, you said?
Yeah. I think I created some notes of like when did I actually start writing? And it was like 9 years ago that I started writing. And I didn't start drawing maps till I don't know, 6 years ago. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
mostly
What kind of
been
book?
writing.
You write like fantasy books, pretty much?
Yeah, fantasy books. I mostly fantasy, some sci-fi in there.
Okay.
I've only published a short story so far, but I am currently working on a full-length novel. It's taken quite a few years with quite a few pitfalls, but I'm getting there.
Hey, no, absolutely. We had a guest on. His name was Larimore. He was one of my first episodes, actually. And he's a self-published author, and he's got this big range of books. And I remember he was telling me like something really inspiring was he said, "You don't have to draw every single day to be a painter. You don't have to write a book every week to be an author. You
Mm,
know, you work on your craft as you can when you can. You know, there's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be side quests, but it's
yeah,
still your dream, your goals. Um, so yeah, man, that's incredible that you've stayed consistent with mentally with just knowing what you love, which is writing. I have a couple of books that I've worked on. I haven't
mm,
published any. I have a documentary that I'm working on right now, which is basically
yeah,
like my story and stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to publish that. I have no
right.
idea. And then I have like a detective novel. It's like an Irish
Oh,
detective novel, which is pretty cool. So, but tell me more about your books, man. Like I want to hear more. Like if you're open to
yeah.
talking about it.
Well, so I started writing. Okay, so how I started writing is actually kind of a funny story. I was in like fifth or sixth grade, I think, when so I was homeschooled, and once a week I would go to a co-op with a whole bunch of other homeschoolers, and there would be like extracurricular classes. And my mom signed me up for this um, creative writing class, and I hated it. It was terrible. It was my least favorite class out of all of the classes. And so I was put in it for like 3 years, and but my writing skills got better, and eventually I was like, you know what? I want to write a story, because at the same time I had read Chronicles of Narnia, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, and I I loved them. And so I was like, you know what, if I'm gonna do this writing thing, I might as well write about something I love, or want to write about, not necessarily love. And so in 2016, 2017, something like that, I wrote my first little book about this Lego guy who um, all of the Lego people lost their memories every single morning. And so the Lego guy set off on a journey, and somehow he met Bilbo Baggins along his travels, and then and then he went and found
No,
this
as a
Temple of the
Lego man
Brick.
does, you know.
Yeah, yeah, of course, exactly. And so he found this Temple of the Brick, and it was supposed to give everybody's memories back. And so he knew he was going to lose his memories the next day or something. And so he wrote them down in a journal and then went back to the Lego city and uh, got everybody to go to the temple with him and got their memories back. And somehow the Barbies in Barbie Land were responsible for them losing their memories every day.
Well, of
So
course.
the yeah,
Who
I
else
know
would it be?
it's a crazy, plot twisting book. And so this Lego guy goes to the Barbie land with his Lego friends and they nuke the Barbie mansion.
Oh, of course. Right.
And so
Because
then
what
the
else do you
next day,
do?
exactly, exactly. Now you understand. So yeah, that was my first story. It was a short little story.
How are you not
Um,
a millionaire? That story was amazing. Like, how many
well,
books am I
see,
allowed to buy? I'll take your entire stock. That was incredible. Like
you
that's
copyright issues, I'd
oh,
probably get in trouble with a few companies. But
yeah, right. Well, I mean, you don't have to call them exactly what they are. You just almost call them exactly what they are, you know?
I have actually considered rewriting it as like a children's story. Um, who knows? Maybe someday I'll turn that into something. I had one story where I wrote about a so okay, this is another thing about me. I love space and
Space is
planets and
pretty cool.
everything. I
Yeah.
used to want to be a astrophysicist,
Hmm.
and so I just love space. And so wrote this story about these teenagers who built a 5 mile long spaceship because that's how I thought it would be the best way to get to other planets. um, was through a massive space vessel. So these like five teenagers built this 5 mile long spaceship. So that was a funny story as well. I didn't finish that
Hmm.
one.
No, that one sounds cool. I mean, not as cool as nuking Barbie Land, but I mean, dude, you had me at I don't know how many plot twists I could take, but apparently I took all of them. No, I honestly I want to read that book now. What the heck? That's so interesting. I remember Laramore's books. He was talking about like a bunch of his are a little darker. And it's like it's fine, you know, if that's your thing. That's
Mhm.
not really my thing.
Right.
You know, but man, Legoland nuking Barbies. That's cool. But the space, I love space. I could talk
Mhm.
about space for years and years and years, dude. So did you like want to go to college to be an astrophysicist, or you just decided to stick with the writing, or a little bit of a mixture of
Well,
everything?
see, that was kind of the thing. So I fell into like a writing slump after those. I didn't write for a few years. Just kind of focused on other hobbies, and I stopped going to the co-op. Just focused on school.
Hmm.
In my last year of school, well, 11th grade, I decided to do 2 years of school in one. So, you know, 11th and 12th all in one year. That was not fun,
No, no, that does not
but
sound fun. Why would you do that to
that's
yourself?
I was done with school. I was like, this is so, I want to be
Like, get me
done.
out of here. Yeah.
So um, I started looking at what I wanted to do next. I was looking at astrophysics schools. And then I was like, well, you know what? I kind of don't really want to do like the kind of mathy parts or the I don't know, more of the
Hmm.
physics. I don't really want to do
I
that.
want to
I
look at
kind
the
of want to
planets. I don't want to figure out why they're planets. I want to just look at them.
Yeah, that true. And
No,
so
that's
I
literally
was
me. I don't know if that's you, but that's definitely me. No, I get you,
no,
man. The
yeah.
math is definitely, yeah.
So I kind of settled on mechanical engineering, and I applied. Well, no, so I could have gone to. I lived in Colorado at the time, and really the only school around was CU. And if you know anything about CU, it is expensive. And so I was like, all right, maybe I'll go to a community college for now.
Hmm.
And I signed up for a class at the community college for, I actually don't remember what it was for. Um, but I never really got beyond that. I was just kind of struggling with, do I really want to go to school? Because I mean, I'm backtracking a lot, so I'm sorry about that. But
No, no, no. It's fine.
in
That's fine. That's all part of the joy of just sitting here and hanging out. This whole, literally, you're vibing with me, and that's literally all this is, man. We're just talking about
sounds
dreams
good.
and story. Yeah, yeah. Go off. Go off.
So I mean, back a few years in 2019, I started really getting into board gaming, and I made board games a lot because I could not afford the board games I wanted. There was this one board game called Gloomhaven, and it is a $200 board game. And being the 16-year-old with no job that I was, 15, 16, I could not afford a $200 board game. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to make my own. And so that's how I got into map making. I made my first map. That's kind of what I cite as my first map. I had loved maps before then, but that was kind of my first map. And it was it was trash. And then uh, going back to, so if you'll notice a kind of trend, I have a lot of hobbies, writing, board gaming, whatever. And so back to writing in
You'll
2020,
fit in great here. I think each of us has like a billion different hobbies. That's great.
it's kind of like a curse as us creatives, isn't it?
I think so. I think honestly, we're just like it's like we have this ADHD mind that's like, ooh this, ooh that, ooh shiny, jingle jingle jingle.
For real though. Um, so in a few years later, I was doing the dishes and I was like, you know what? I haven't written a book in quite a few years. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start writing a book, like actual book, like a novel, because every story I'd written was I don't know 20 pages long, and so I started writing this novel the same day, and it was March 2022, March 21st, 2022, and I made a map for it. Dude, I have a calendar I made for this thing. It's a septagon calendar. It's a seven-sided um, polyhedron, or not polyhedron. Uh, I don't know. Here, I can send a picture in the Discord. But anyways, I made a whole bunch of really really nerdy things for this book. And it took me quite a few months to finish the manuscript for it. And maybe finished it late 2023. Well, no, late 2022, early 2023. Um, and at that time, the creativity just unleashed. I have so many started books from that time. Like I think I counted maybe 20 books that I started in those 2 years.
Oh
That I still want
wow.
to write some days or someday.
No, hey, listen,
But
I have so many like book ideas. So, like with my detective novel, I have a
mhm,
book that so it's like the Ferguson bloodline. So you've got Thomas Ferguson, which is like 1990s, 2000s. Then you have his son, which is like 2020s. Then you have both of their ancestors. So you've got Noah Shawn, which is one book that's a lawyer judge book. And then you've got
mhm,
Thomas Ferguson, which is like the detective novel. And then you've got Tobias Ferguson, which is back in like the 1890s. I was inspired by Red Dead Redemption, kind of.
mhm.
But he's a pirate. I don't know why, but he's a pirate.
Okay.
And he hops onto a boat from Ireland, and that's how he gets to America or whatever. And then there's another, so excuse me, there's the Scaletta bloodline. that kind of matches with the Ferguson bloodline.
Hmm.
So Vincent Scaletta existed in the 1890s in the same realm as no as Tobias. So
Okay.
in both Tobias Ferguson, he kind of gets hints at the existence of Mr. Scaletta, and then
Hmm.
Scaletta knows about Tobias and like knows that he's a judge because Vincent is like a crime boss. He's like a mafia boss. And then in like it gets more important whenever you read Thomas Ferguson because Thomas Ferguson's doing all this investigating and he actually takes down this big crime boss who is Victor Scaletta, who is like the great great ancestor of Vincent. And
Hmm.
Victor's son is Anthony Scaletta, who mashes with Noah Shawn in the 2020s. It's like this multiple bloodlines clashing. It's phenomenal. But I've only written one book, but the ideas
Okay.
for the other books, man, they're there. So
Yeah.
I completely understand that. Completely
Hmm.
understand.
Yeah. I mean, it's a similar thing with me. I just had like this spreadsheet of like, okay, this is going to be the next um, stories of this main book, right? And so you write it all out, and it's just very in depth and very nerdy. Um,
No, I love it. And there's going to be, listen, you'll find that out of the 8 billion people on this planet, there are thousands that are going to love you. There are
mhm.
hundreds of thousands that are going to love you. And as soon as you start putting your work out there consistently, bro, people are like they're already loving it. I mean, I ran into it. Like listen, man, you've got something real here. I love how you're like a detective with like all the little red ropes and like the little pins on a wall with a map, except they're all just
Oh
different
yeah.
ideas and different hobbies and different, goals and stuff. I love it. It's great. You've got this super ultra creative mind that never stops thinking, and that's great. Don't ever let the world numb that, because the world is great at telling you to shut the fuck up, and that's not. Don't listen to that. Anytime somebody tells you, "Oh well, do it," you shouldn't do it that way. You should do it this way. No, it's your path. You're driving the bus. You're not sitting in the back of the bus. You're driving the bus. You're paving the road towards your own destiny, towards your own journey. So if there's some detours, if there's some side quests, if you pull over for a year or two, that's fine. But it's still the same journey, and it's a beautiful journey. People would love to hear it. They're gonna learn so much from it.
Yeah. Thanks for that. That means a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
So I
absolutely.
dropped the image in the Discord. And for everybody who's listening to the podcast later on, it's a seven-sided shape with two layers and then an octagon in the middle. It is a highly complicated calendar for no reason. I could have made it a lot simpler, but it's like a
No, that's pretty
sundial kind of vibe.
cool. Dude, I love that. That's really cool. Summer's day, summer's gold, winter's dawn, winter's sun,
So
winter
that
moon.
outside tier, those are the months, and then the inside tier. So there are 7 months, and then the inside tier there are those are the days, and then the octagon, the numbers, those are the actual date. So so from the top, Winter Dawn, Farron's Day 5. So it would be the Farron's Day, the 5th of Winter Dawn.
That's incredible. That feels like the Harry Potter lore or like Lord of the Rings lore. Like, you read like 17 books of like 70,000 pages and you learn like all this languages and these calendars and stuff and you're just like, "Wow, I've got all this cool information." I love it. I love it so much.
I mean, Lord of the Rings is like the biggest inspiration for me. I'm rereading it right now, and it's just my favorite book of all time. It's so
Okay.
good.
All right. Are you ready to judge me? I've seen a little bit of the Lord of the Rings. I've never seen all
Mhm.
of it. I've never read the books or The Hobbit. I've seen Harry Potter, but that's pretty much it. I've seen like one of the movies of The Hobbit, but I'm
It-
hoping to eventually buy the books because I prefer to
mhm.
read so that I can read them. But you know,
The Lord of the Rings is spectacular. It is a little bit difficult to read your first time, but trust me, finish it. It is really good.
top
You
tier.
might not like it, but by the time you're done, you'll definitely respect it.
Yeah, you might not like it, but you'll respect it. Okay, nice.
Exactly.
Nice, nice, nice. Well, okay, so you said you've got a lot going on. You've got a lot of different projects and hobbies and ideas. Is
Mhm.
there anything that's like steadfast, like the front of the ship, like the main point of interest that you're really pushing towards?
Well, definitely the writing. Like I was saying, the if you don't mind, I'm going to continue that story because it does actually pull into what you asked.
Yeah,
Um,
go ahead.
the I started writing my book. And then I drew a map, and early on, and it was a bad map. But then I started watching videos about how to draw maps because I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really enjoyed this, and so I started improving. And May 2022, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a mapping business. I don't know what made me think I could do it, but I was like, I mean, delusion, you know. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna start a mapping business, and I uh, went headlong into that. Started an Instagram. I mean, not headlong, but like that was kind of just my thing. And so while I was writing, I was doing this mapping thing. Over time, I improved at mapping. Obviously, got better at writing. Um, had multiple drafts of this book. Started asking people to read it, etc. And so over that time, um, my plan became mapping is going to be my key to writing. It's going to be my way to make an income so that I can write full time. And so, fast forward to when I was deciding on going to school or not, I was like, well, if I go to school, how much time am I going to have for writing? How much time am I going to have for mapping? Am I going to be able to do this map uh, business as much as I want to? And um, I kind of just got burnt out from school from doing those 2 years, and so I kind of just decided to um, not I decided to put school on hold for a while and just think about it. And so I focused on my maps primarily so that I could start making an income for writing. That did not work, and I pushed hard for years for the maps. I made a few sales, but it didn't really do anything until 2024. And so for 2023, 2024, mapping was my primary thing. You asked what my primary thing was. That was my primary thing, even to a few months ago, actually. And so that was just my thing. I was doing maps pretty much full time. I mean, I was pumping out videos, doing everything on social media. And in 2024, February 2024, I started a series. So there was this trend going around where someone would do something 1 second for every follower. I don't know if you saw that trend or not, but it was a great way to get followers because, oh, you want to see this project go on? Well, you should follow. And so I saw this one guy doing it for a video game, and I was like, yo, that's really cool. I want to try that. Maybe I can get a few followers. I had about 900 followers on Instagram, mm, maybe a couple hundred on YouTube. Um, Nothing crazy. And I started doing it. It started slow. What I did was I will draw for 1 second for every follower and add the top comment every single day. And that's what I did. It was really, really fun. And uh, then it started skyrocketing. I got to about 15,000 followers on Instagram by April. It was insanity. And
Yeah, that's incredible.
so I just kept doing it. And I was like, I mean, it's working. Why stop? And so
Yeah, if it
maybe
ain't broke,
half
don't
the
fix it.
exactly, yeah. So half the year goes by and it starts quieting down. I start losing some because people are realizing, I followed way too many people doing this trend. I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna unfollow some of those people. And so I started losing some followers, nothing like losing in the thousands. It was just, some here, some there. And the videos started not going as viral anymore. And I was like, I'll keep going because I plan to do 9 maps in the series. I don't sadly have any pictures of all the 9 maps completed together, but how it worked was each map could connect to the one next to it. So all 9 maps were a complete, what is it called? Like series, I guess. Um, And so as the year went on, I just was like, this is getting old fast. And so I started getting a little bit burnt out from that. And earlier in the year, I got a girlfriend, but she was across the country. And I was like, I only made a few sales from this series. I need a job to go see her and be able to support myself. And so I kind of pushed the maps a little bit to the side, and over that late summer, early autumn, I got a job or applied to jobs. In October I got a job, and it was retail. And if you know anything about working retail during the holidays and you're not a student, your schedule will quickly become almost a 40 full time job. And so from October to March, I didn't do anything creatively.
Oh yeah, let
Um,
me let me tell you. I am a front end supervisor of a large retail chain. I work
um,
like 40 to 45 hours a week, which isn't crazy. But
mhm,
my schedule's never consistent and the holidays suck.
yeah.
Yeah, so I completely understand. And I'm, going to college, so good
Mhm,
stuff. Fun stuff.
yeah.
Uh
I know how hard that is. It is just so draining, especially to do any creative work during that time.
yeah,
Were you
no,
gonna
and
say something else?
no, you're good. No, the thing is like, it's you don't have to be creative every single day to be considered
Mm,
creative. It's exactly what Larimore said. Is with writing, with developing, creating, you don't have to do it all the time to still,
mhm,
be that.
yeah.
And it's something that me and Ziella were talking about in one of our episodes was I need to start using his first name. He's gonna kick my ass. But yeah, it's all about consistency. Sure, yeah, it's about consistency and discipline. But even if you mess up, even if you can't record or if you can't put work out there for a week or a month or even a year, that doesn't mean that, oh, well, the dream's dead. That just means that you get to
Right.
relive the most important part of that, which is the first step. You
Mm,
get to relive the first step, which is the most important step ever. It's the scariest step. But you're not doing it the same way because you have that experience, you have that know-how, you've been to 15,000 followers, you know what that looks like and what it takes
mhm,
so you can get there again, you know?
yeah.
So, it's not here's the thing. Anybody out there who tells you you have to be doing this a certain amount, you have to be doing that a certain amount, they're lying to you.
Mhm,
They're it is your way of doing things. Of course, there's a way that's going to work and there's a way that's not going to work. Everybody has their own truth. I wouldn't say that they're lying fully. Their way works for them, but your way is going to work for you. It's unique in your own way. You have your own voice, your own creativity. So, if you're not able to publish because you've got work or whatever, that's life. You're
Right.
doing a great job wrestling between a relationship, between work, between school, between, artistry, like all this stuff. Like you're doing a great job,
Mm.
just because you're not quitting. Most people
Yeah.
when they deal with these difficulties, when they deal with these hardships and these blockades, they're like, "Oh, well, I guess that's it. I guess I
Mhm.
can't do anything. I guess I'm just stuck here." But the fact of
Yeah.
the matter is you're not stuck. You're dealing with roadblocks, and that doesn't mean you're stuck. That just means that you've got to find a new angle, and you're gonna do
Mhm.
great things. I can already see it. Like you you keep saying it's a nerdy thing, but there are so many people out there that are gonna love that energy, not because it's
Mhm.
nerdy, but because it's unique, because it
Right.
tickles that part of their brain that's also creative. Some of them aren't as creative as you. Maybe they're just enough creative to see what you're doing and love it.
Mhm.
Think about how popular Lord of the Rings is. That's your inspiration. Look how popular it is. There's regular people that aren't nerdy, that don't play video games, that don't do D&D, but they love Lord of the Rings. They
Right.
seriously do. And that could be you, bro. I can see
Mhm.
it. I can see your vision in your eyes, bro. I can't see your eyes, but you know what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 You're gonna go far. You're gonna go far, man. You're super creative. You're super cool. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, you have solid points. It was just almost paradoxical though at that time. I don't know if paradoxical is necessarily the right word, but while I was working, I was just,
Wait, is paradoxical a word? Hold on.
I think it is.
No, I'm gonna believe you. Even if it's not a word, I'm gonna use it from now on.
All right.
Oh, it is.
Okay.
Oxford Dictionary. Okay. That's a new Da-da-da-da.
Right.
Anyways, continue.
So, I'm as you can tell, I'm a very creative person. I need to create something. And so during that working time, I was just emotionally drained. Not just like physically, like I mean, working every day, you know, during the holidays and dealing with people, especially as an introvert, that was emotionally draining. But I just wasn't able to make anything. I didn't make. I made like maybe 3 reels during that time. I live streamed every week before then, and now or during that time I just didn't. I didn't do any of that. I didn't write. I didn't draw. It was just it sucked. And so it just kind of fed into my not doing anything creative. Like I would go to work, I'd um, come home, and I'd just do something brainless. Um, like I'd made the mistake of not laying good boundaries in the first place. This was my first job, just so you know. I was 19, and this was my first job, and I didn't lay good boundaries because I didn't know. I was like, yeah, I'm free any day between about 10 a.m. and 10 p.m. I can do that. And so my boss, I mean, I can't blame her. She took that to mean, okay, you're gonna be my filler person. You're gonna, work mornings, nights, whatever. And so on the days that I had to get up early, I'd get up early and then go home and then do my stuff. On the days that I had to go in later, I'd sleep late, and so that added to the emotional drainage. And by March, I was just kind of done. Um, my parents were like, "Okay, we're gonna move out of state. We found a house. We have been looking for a really long time. We're gonna go move." And I was like, "Okay, that's a great excuse to leave work." And so I gave my 2 weeks, left, uh, packed up, and we moved. And so those months after leaving work were really rough creatively. Um, I did start getting really creative again at that during that time, but I was like, I had been working and I had been having someone tell me what to do. all day, every day. I had someone telling me when to come in, when to wake up, essentially. So I had to, take control of my life again. Um, and so those like probably 3 months after, 2 to 3 months after leaving and moving, I was just, it was just kind of figuring out life. And I had so much freedom to do whatever I wanted again. And so early in the year, I wanted to start a new series for mapping because I hadn't done anything really. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna kickstart the year with a new series, and I wanted to do this Annus Cartographia idea where I would draw every day for a year. Um, but to do that, I needed a big piece of paper. Long story short, it took me a little bit to find the paper. And so I didn't start that till about April, but I started it. And so I got the bandwagon going again on mapping. And so at that time, well, while I was working, I was like, okay, after I'm done here, I worked at Columbia Sportswear. After I'm done here at Columbia, um, I'm gonna figure out something that I can have an independent job with. And I kind of settled on social media management because I grew over to over 15,000, but then I lost uh, followers, and I'm currently sitting at 12.4 maybe 12,000 followers on Instagram. And so I was like, I know what needs to be done to get you to that point, and I know what needs to be done to keep you from losing those followers. And so I was like, I would be great at social media management. At the same time, I was growing my YouTube channel. I started my TikTok, and so I was like, yeah, I can do this. Everything is going really well. I can join a company and I can help them grow. And so I talked to some social media managers. How do I actually get into this, etc. And so that was kind of like that was my plan B. If anything else didn't work. And so we moved, and I started looking around for companies that needed social media managers. Where I live, it's very much small town, so people are a little bit, they're not as up with the times as they were in Denver. And so it was really hard to find people who wanted a social media manager. I sent dozens of emails. Maybe my cold outreach wasn't amazing. I'm going so off topic. I'm sorry, but
No,
the
no, no, you're good. Listen, I want to hear it, man. Because here's the thing.
all right.
There are gonna be people out there that are gonna hear your story, hear your drive, hear your passion, and hear how you've been hustling, and they're gonna be so inspired by it. Absolutely 100% inspired. There was Dina, she's somebody that's in the Discord here. I just got done interviewing her not long ago. She was telling me how she was listening to Matt's episode a couple episodes ago,
Mhm.
and she was inspired by like the first like 5 minutes of conversation by his story. So like
Yeah.
someone's gonna listen to your words, man. They're gonna be inspired. They're gonna be motivated. So keep
All
going.
right. I'll continue then. So the it was just discouraging. No dozens of emails, no reply on any of them, and at the same time, my Indeed and in no, not Indeed, my LinkedIn account got shut down and asked me to send in ID verification. And I was using a pseudonym, and so I was like, "How the heck am I supposed to verify my identity if I'm using a pseudonym or my business name?" I don't remember what I was using, but whatever it was, I was like, "I don't know how I'm going to do this." So I just stopped social media management. I had a client My mom is a uh, fairly successful um, quilt designer, quilt pattern designer, and she was like, "Your rates are really good. Will you manage my social media?" So luckily, she's been uh, reliable, and so I she was my client, and so I was able to make a small income from that, and I'm still doing hers. I helped some guys in the fantasy map niche start their Instagram and get it rolling. But beyond that, nothing came of it. So I was just, I was just very discouraged, and I was like, you know what? F this. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna focus on my fantasy maps again. This is. I don't enjoy this. I don't want to do this anymore. Um, and so I focused on my fantasy maps. I started what did I do? Hold on. I This was just earlier this year, and now I'm blanking.
Hmm.
I started what did oh no. Okay, yeah. I remember now. I started this new line of fantasy maps called custom mappables. They're on my website right now. There was going to be a large library of maps, but now they're I stopped doing it, and I'll get to that. But I did this line called custom mappables, and the premise was commissions are really expensive. Um, I charge maybe $100 to $300 for a map commission, just a basic map, and that can skyrocket with uh, professional licenses. And so I was like, you know what? I want to make something that anybody can buy. I'm going to make a $10 map. It's going to be a digital file. It's going to be fully customizable. You get to write your names. It's going to be pretty generic. It's going to be a whole line of detailed, beautiful fantasy maps. There's going to be spaces for you, clear spaces for you to write. Because okay, so there's this thing in fantasy mapping where people will draw either a fully complete fantasy map without the names, or they'll draw an empty fantasy map, like it'll just be the continent outline. And I was like, this is kind of lame. Like, why don't we have something that's really customizable? And so I was like, dude, this is a perfect opportunity. So I created this line, and I thought it was going to do amazing. Um, During that time, I was kind of like, okay, I have not had a solid business strategy until now. So I'm going to um, make this the best business strategy I can possibly come up with. I'm going to post every day. I'm going to have a clear call to action. I'm going to have really good copy,
Hmm.
et cetera, et cetera. And So that's what I did. For a
Hmm.
month, I was going to do this. If it didn't work out by a month, 2 months, then I'd move on to something else.
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
that's fair. Yeah.
so I did this. Hold on, sorry.
No worries. Take your time.
I decided to do this, and I made maybe three um, test maps, and or not test maps, but they were like the first three, and I was so excited about them. People, from what I could see, people really liked the idea. It was really unique, but the numbers weren't there. Website traffic was really low, and I mean, there were no sales, so I was like, by that month, 2 month deadline, I was like, okay, time to move on to something else. So I settled on stickers of the current Andros cartography map, and and at that moment, within that next month of testing, I was just like, it's been what, 4 years of doing this with maybe $50 in sales. Um, I I don't know if I can keep doing this. And I spent so long just sitting and thinking about
Mhm.
what the heck I was supposed to do with my life.
Mhm.
Did I make the wrong decision of not going to school? Am I just doomed to go get another retail job? Am I ever gonna write my books like I wanted to? I hadn't written in forever because I had been just steaming ahead with my fantasy maps or jobs. And so I was like, I was just, again, really discouraged. And then I kind of had like an epiphany. I was kind of like, you know what? What am I really worrying about? Like, I mean, okay, so I understand if you're worrying about something. I totally understand that. But I was just like, I don't need to be worrying about this. I have a safe place to live. I have warm house. If I'm gonna um not do what I love, then that's gonna be terrible.
Mhm.
And for the longest time, for since months after I started writing my current novel, I knew that writing was what I was called to do. That is my
Like your
the
purpose.
calling. That is my purpose. That is my thing that I'm supposed to do. And
Mhm.
so I was like, okay, I'm gonna not worry for now. I'm just gonna continue writing. I For this book, it's called The Lost King, and many draft, many revisions and deleted parts and new parts. I had sent it to a lot of my friends and asked them to read it, and nobody really read it. They got into it, but of course, life gets in the way. I totally understand that. And so the only person who was able to finish it was my girlfriend. And so I was operating on no feedback really whatsoever. And so earlier this year or late last year, I was kind of desperate. So I went to Reddit and I'm like, somebody please beta read this. I need feedback. I'll take whatever. And luckily, I had an amazing person read it. They gave me so much good feedback, but I didn't really touch the book again until, I don't know, 3 months ago, maybe 3 months ago. Um, and so when I was figuring life out, I was like, okay, I'm gonna write. I'm gonna work on this. I'm gonna get through the kind of the the feedback. I don't know why that was so hard to think of. But so yeah, that was like, I was like, I'm gonna I'm gonna write. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna publish my book sometime. I'm gonna figure something out. Um, and so I was writing for a while, and then I was like, this is a lot of work because I kind of have to rewrite half of my book. Um, well, I don't kind of have to. I want to. Um, because I don't feel like fixing it, because it would take a long time and I'd waste too many brain cells. So I'm going to rewrite it. And then I kind of realized, oh, this is going to take quite a few months. So since then, I mean, that brings us to the modern day. Since then, I've been looking around for jobs like, what can I do that I'll like and that I'll be creative? And how do I balance that with writing and with my maps and with all of these other hobbies that I really, really want to do? Um, and and so that's just kind of where I've been recently. I'm currently trying to relearn copywriting, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna try and do that freelance and maybe into a job or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, so those are, yeah. It's been difficult recently, just trying to balance all of writing and holidays and jobs and
Oh yeah.
mapping. I mean,
Oh yeah.
so many
It's a
commitments.
juggle. It's a
Hmm.
juggle, man. I I want to commend your ability, like it's resilience, like you're like, man, I feel like giving up, I feel like quitting, but then you're like, yo, you literally said I had an epiphany. I was like, you know what? Like if you're not gonna do what you love, then what's the point? You know?
Yeah. Hmm.
Even if you have to struggle through a job that you might not fully love, if you can
Right.
balance it with the things that you do love, it makes it all count. See,
Hmm.
I hate my job, but it pays the bills. It keeps a roof
Right.
over my head, and it pays for my resources for my podcast. And that's why I'm
Hmm.
like, you know what? For my podcast and my writing and my acting. So it's like, at the end of the day, I'm willing to suffer through 8 hours, 8 or 9 hours at a
Yeah.
job that I hate because I know that that's not my final destination. I know that
Hmm.
my purpose is beyond just working a 9 to 5. I know that.
Yeah.
And you're the same way. And it's a hard mentality to have because a lot of people, and I'm going to commend you for this, a lot of people, they would have given up in your shoes. They would have been like, "You know what? Who needs it anyways?
Hmm.
Who needs dreams? I'm just gonna give up. I'm gonna give in to the 9 to 5." But instead of doing that, instead of giving in to the bullshit 9 to 5, you said, you know what? I'm gonna keep dreaming. I'm gonna keep pushing towards my goals and do what I love. Because if we're gonna live through this crazy life, we might as well give our soul the vision that it craves. We might as
Yeah.
well fuel the passion that gives our life meaning. And I
Hmm.
am so proud of you for doing exactly that. And I hope you never stop. But if you do, that is perfectly fine. Okay? Because life is like this huge mountain range. There are peaks, summits, and valleys. You'll find yourself in stagnation. You'll find yourself on peaks where you feel like higher than the rest of the world. And you'll find yourself crossing finish lines you never thought possible before. It doesn't mean that, oh, it's working or oh, it's not. It just means, hey, you're on this climb and you're still
Yeah.
moving forward. Stagnation is not the opposite of progress you
Hmm.
know as long as you're moving, as long as you're like, even if you're stuck at work, you're technically still moving, you're working towards something you know
Right.
even if you're resting, if Spartans rested before battle. you know
Hmm.
you have to rest before you can keep fighting. So just keep doing it, man. I'm proud of you. You're
Yeah.
doing a great job, and it's great to
Thank you.
see everything that you've accomplished. Your story is fantastic, and it's an honor to even hear it, to listen to it. It reminds me of a lot of why I started the podcast.
Hmm.
Um, is it okay if I ask like where you are from, like what state you live in?
I'm in South Dakota right now.
South Dakota. Oh,
Hmm.
oh, you are far away, far away. I'm
Yeah.
originally from Oklahoma, but I live in New
Okay.
York. So that's why New Yoki host, because Okie is Oklahoman, New Yorker. Yeah,
Uh,
it's a
okay.
combination of the two. Yeah, I know, super fancy. Like, took a lot of thinking to come up with that one, New Yoki.
Hey, I mean, you
Uh,
got to start somewhere.
yeah, honestly, I kind of like it. It kind of grew on me. Whenever I first started the podcast, I walked around town with a little clipboard with a bunch of possible names for the podcast. I was like, "Hey, vote on one, vote on one," and the walk-in won. The New Yoki podcast was another idea. That was second place,
Hmm.
and I think it was like the Heartland or the Heart Walk, something with a heart. That one was like third place, but Soul
Okay.
State was third. No, Soul State was third. Uh, now I kind of combined everything. Like I'm the
Hmm.
new Yoki host. My episodes where I talk to someone are soul states.
Oh,
It's a state of the soul. It's a state of us talking about our passions and our dreams and our visions, and uh yeah, and it was great talking to you today. We're at
yeah.
55 minutes. Holy crap. It was supposed to be
That
30.
time
I don't
flew.
mind though. No, time flew. I was like, man, 15 minutes. Wait, it's not 15, it's 55. Holy crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's
Uh,
incredible though. That literally that tells me that you're passionate. That tells me that you've got a lot going on, that you really do love this.
mhm.
And I hope that while you're pushing for this, at no point do you look at the numbers and go, well, other people are doing better, so I'm just gonna give up. Don't ever do that, because
Yeah.
that's the biggest enemy. Comparison is the biggest enemy, and you're doing a great
Mhm.
job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh I feel like I barely spoke. I'm so sorry. I was just absolutely loving listening to your story.
No,
Uh
it's okay.
yeah.
If
You have any
you,
questions for me?
I mean, I thought I had a question.
Yeah,
Real
throw it
quick.
at me.
If I just thought of something. I mean, it's kind of a little bit of a celebration point. Um, in 2023, it's funny side story as well. I hope you don't mind me going a little
No,
bit
no,
longer.
keep going, keep
Okay.
going.
I started, or I I was like, so it was November, and I was like, you know what? I should write a Christmas short story. And I, as you heard with all of my other stories, I'm a little bit stubborn. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna write this Christmas short story. I'm gonna publish it on December 1st. And that was one of the worst decisions ever. So, okay, so I wrote this short story about Father Christmas and how he goes into this village called Gilder Pond. He was going to deliver gifts and aid to the people, and but he finds that there's a lot darker secret, and the villagers are held captive by a villain. And so I wrote the story, and and that took a long time, a couple drafts, and the beta readers, and then I had to draw the cover because I didn't have any money for a cover artist. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do my cover art. Actually, here I will also send the cover art while I'm talking. And so the um, cover art went through so many revisions that took a lot of time. And then the summary, the what is it called? Synopsis. That was a that was a trip. And so I was up till like late in the night working on this on November 30th. Where the heck is my folder? Oh, there it is. And so I published it on November, or sorry, December 1st, and um, it was fun. I don't think first year I might have made a sale, but I decided to do it in a way that on maybe January 30th, 31st, whatever, or December 30th. I don't know. I don't remember which months have 31. Anyways, I I made maybe one sale, but anyways, within that 1 to 2 months, I would remove that short story from my site and re-release it next year. And so last year, 2024, I did the same thing. Released it, then took it off. And so this year, I am really happy to have it back again on my shop. And I'm keeping it around for good. So if you want to go check that out, that would mean a lot to me. It is a really
Yeah.
fun story.
No, absolutely. I'll check it out. And listen, anything that you want me to throw into the description of this episode, so
Hmm.
that like if somebody can like reach out to you like via email for like any projects or whatever, or if you have a store, whatever, just send it to me. I'll throw it in the
Okay.
description of the episode for sure.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, just listen, man. The thing that I had to learn, and I think you know this as well, is failure is a necessary milestone on the pathway to success. Your best
Yes.
stories are the failures because your history is what makes you authentic. Your history is what makes you real. All right. Like, let me give you an example. Right now, I have an episode up that I just published at 2 p.m. It just published. And the guy that I was interviewing just messaged me and he's like, "Ah, man, I don't know what happened on my end, but it's, it sounds really bad." He's like, "I'm so sorry." Like, no, no, don't be sorry. Let me pull it. Let me, splice it, work through it. Because the thing is we can only, like, I could easily go, pull the whole thing. I'll just delete it. No, you pull it, you work with it. You work from your failures. You learn from your failures. You mess up
Mm.
and you grow from it. And yeah, that's exactly what your story is. It's literally a story of resilience. It's a story of, okay, well that happened, but we're gonna keep going. Oh, okay, well that didn't work, so we're gonna try this. That is so gorgeous, so amazing. And I can already think of like 3 or 4 times in just this one episode where if I was a listener, I would literally go, wow, that really inspired me. You are going to inspire people with what you just, I can already see it. I can already see it. All right. Listen, man. I hope you keep going. We're gonna have other recording sessions for sure. And we also did the vote on when we want to do like community sessions. I think those are going to be
Mm.
super cool, whether they're recorded or not. I think it's going to end up being monthly, which I'm low key happy about. So,
Yeah.
yeah, hopefully you can chime into those. Definitely share some of your work and talk with some of the people in the Discord. And if you ever need anything, you just let me know. Okay, my DMs are always open. All right.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Real
yeah.
quick,
What's up?
your little bit about failure um, brought something to mind. It is. Do you mind if I read a little paragraph from Lord of the Rings that made me remember it?
Um, I
Actually, I
think
don't know if I should. Yeah.
no, no, no,
So
no,
I'll
no.
just
You can't.
paraphrase
No, no,
it.
no. No, hold on. You can just say this is not just if you say like, "Hey, this isn't my work. This is from the work by this artist in this
Okay.
book." So just say it like
Yeah.
that, and you should be good.
All right. So it is from Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien. Hold on, I have to find it. No, 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 no. Where is it? Um, it is. I mean, everybody who's seen the movie probably knows what I'm referring to. Um, let's see, where is it? All right, I'm just going to paraphrase it. It's a long section. So essentially, Frodo and Sam are going to Mordor, and they are uh, they're struggling, um, and they start talking about tales that they heard in the Shire, and either Sam or Frodo says where the tales that are remembered aren't the ones that are easy or are where the characters had the time of their life. The tales that are remembered because the main character struggled. Baron didn't lose his hand to or Baron lost his hand, and that's the reason why he's the hero of the Silmarillion. And so the reason why tales are remembered and heroes are so great is because they pushed through and they struggled. And maybe our tales aren't going to be remembered, but um, they're only going to be remembered if there's a little bit of difficulty in them.
Hey there, this is friend of the show, Anthony Ziello, and I just wanted to say thanks for stepping into the walk-in today. If this episode spoke to you, go ahead and follow the show, and catch us every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern. You can find the walk-in on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube Podcasts, pretty much anywhere you listen. And if you want to hang with our community, come join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. A huge shout out to the Podmatch community for having us with them. Their support for dreamers is unmatched. Until next time, take a breath, stay inspired, and as always, we'll walk together again next week.